Now I will present you the first part of my app, which is the front end. So I will start with a diagram. In the front end, I'm using React.js, Bootstrap for styling, Next.js, Stripe for payments, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and JWT. In the middle tier, I'm using native JavaScript Fetch, Node.js, Next.js, and JWT, and as a database, I'm using MongoDB. In the presentation of the tiers, front-end sends request with JSON bodies to the backend, and backend interacts with database. Database returns only specific data to the backend, and then backend returns back to the frontend this data so the frontend can use them. And there is another form of communication, direct communication from frontend to Stripe. So this communication is important since server cannot have access to sensitive data such as the card. And then Stripe answers as a success to the payment directly to the front end. Regarding the component architecture, there is a standard architecture of the app, there is a navigation bar, and the remaining part is the main body in which all the components and pages are opening. When user is not authenticated, the navigation bar has options such as home, sign up and sign in, and there are no restaurants or dishes presented to the user. But when the user is authenticated, navigation bar has home, card, and the email of the user in the top right corner, and of course all the data such as restaurants and dishes are presented. Regarding the design decisions, I'm using Bootstrap to complete this app. Also the styling is simple but is friendly to the user, and finally there is a harmony in the use of colors and fonts, so the user is not confused while he or she is in the app. And finally, regarding styling changes because of Next.js, since Next.js gives me the opportunity to make easily pages with easy routing, I've created some pages such as the confirmation page or the logout page that actually have very simple styling and just give a message to the user like thank you very much, etc. Regarding authentication, I'm using password type authentication. I'm asking from the user data such as the email and the password. I'm making a request to the database, and database, if this user exists, sends back to the server the data of the user, and server creates a JWT, and this JWT is sent back to the frontend. Now, having this JWT, user can access every single service, so is authorized to access the services, and this is the second type of authentication, token type. So with this token, the user can access everything. The challenges in authentication were that I had to decode the JSON web token since it was not understandable and very big. So I found an algorithm called parse JWT that gets this token and decodes the token and gives me back specific data such as the name and the email, and of course not the password, since this is a sensitive data and is staying only to the server, not to the front end. Regarding Stripe, which is used for payments, customer gives data to the server, and then there is a post in Stripe, and then there is returned a new payment intent to the server and a client secret to the front end. With this client secret, the customer can directly communicate with Stripe with sensitive data such as the card, and Stripe answers with a message of success if there is a success to the user. Challenges in Stripe were two. The first one was that I wanted to find in the backend the final amount of money that the user has to pay, and to success on that I created a reduce which uses an accumulator and calculates the final amount of money. And the second was that I wanted only payment using cards. So I read on the Google, I made some search, and I found there is a specific option that we can put inside when creating the payment intent, which is saying payment method types, and we just put card. There are other methods that we can use, but I wanted only payment card. So this is the front-end part of my application.